How do you explain copywriting to someone completely new to it?
First of all, very basically, it is copywriting with a W-R-I-T-E, right? Not copyright with an R-I-G-H-T. So that's the first thing. People don't know the difference. One is a legal term that protects you from something you've done, and the other one is a type of or style of writing.
As a complete beginner just getting started, what is the earning potential?
To update somebody's website, maybe you charge $500, $700, $1,000. If you're going to rewrite somebody's website, maybe that's like $1,500 or $2,000. That's what I started charging when I was just getting started. Which is, I know for some people, that's still a lot of money. Today, I charge close to $7,000 or $8,000 to write the words for someone's website, and I don't even build the website.
Hello, freelancers. Today is special. Today, we are going to talk about freelance copywriting, which is an area I have very limited knowledge about. And I notice many of you ask me questions about freelance copywriting, and that is why I contact an expert who had been coaching freelancers for the first 6 years, 5 to 6 years, I think, about freelancing. And she is moving specifically to coaching freelance copywriters. So for anyone who is interested in freelance copywriting, this episode is going to be special. And without any more delay, Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sadiq. I'm so glad you found me, and I love talking about copywriting and freelancing, so this is going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah, it is going to be. Why don't we start with introducing yourself and a little about your journey into freelancing, into Upwork, and how you got started in coaching freelancers.
It's the story keeps evolving. About 5 years ago, I was in between jobs. I had just left a full-time job, and I was waiting to get another great full-time job. And in the meantime, I jumped on Upwork and just wanted to hustle a little, make a little bit of money. And I started writing emails and blogs for people. I was a blogger at the time, so I, felt comfortable applying for jobs that were for writing and for blogging. I got excited when people paid me $200 to write a blog or $100 to write an email. That's how I got started. But the problem came about 3 or 4 weeks into this when I didn't get any interviews for my big new job, and I realized I better start making good money on Upwork because I didn't know if I was going to get another job. And I remember the day where I had to kind of make that decision. I'm like, Lisa, you're going to have to pick yourself here. Like, nobody's coming to rescue you. No one's handing you, the corner office and a 401k and like, you have to make this work. And so that's when I got really serious and I said, okay, this is what I do now. I am a freelance writer. I did not even know what copywriting was. I had never heard the term before. I never called myself a copywriter. And so I stepped into that about 5.5 years ago. And my very first year was a lot of hard work. I will not tell anybody it's easy, especially on Upwork. I worked before the kids got up in the morning. Then I sent my kids off to school and I worked. They came home and we had snack and homework. And then after dinner, I would work and I would stay up late and work. And so for any of you that are looking to get into freelancing, it doesn't just happen easily. You have to find ways sometimes to do 2 jobs until you can make enough money to do this, full time. And so primarily I made most of my money, 95% of it on Upwork that first year, writing before I kind of switched over into copywriting.
This is interesting. And this just proved one point that I have kept talking to freelancers about. This thing is not easy. It is easy when you figure it out, but when you are just getting started, it's not easy. So unless you are willing to do whatever it takes to make it work, it's easy to give up. And that is why also when you have a reason to just keep doing it, then you keep doing it. And when you get started, if you find the job that you were looking for, you probably will not have stick to Upwork. You will have just left and you will not have get to where you are today. It's not easy, but it's entirely doable for almost anyone, especially if you just want to put an effort into it. It's interesting. There is one story that I like to tell new people who are just getting started, who have some excuses like, I don't have enough skills, I am from this background. People have all kind of excuses. And the example I give people is, there was a documentary I watched, Notorious Nick, I think that's the name of it. The guy has one arm and he is a kickboxing champion. When a reporter asks him, how do you do that? You beat people with two arms. He is a champion in kickboxing. He said, I was born with a disadvantage, and for that reason I had to work twice as hard as anybody else. So if people normally invest 10 hours in training, he invests 20 hours. Right. And so that's just how it works. If you have a reason to do it, and if you are willing to do it, to do whatever it takes to make it work, you will figure out a way to make it work.
I have to agree.
That's very interesting.
I have to agree with you on that, just on that point, because it is so important. When you hear the money and you hear the exciting opportunities and things like that, you will be attracted to it. But I am very down to earth and practical. At the time, I was a single mom with 3 kids, and I had to pay the bills. A lot of people were displaced during the pandemic, or lost their jobs, or were forced at home, and it forced you to have to figure something out. That is probably the best position to be in, when you have the luxury of going back and forth, or maybe a partner that pays all the bills and you're just trying it out. If you give yourself a plan B, I promise you're going to take it, because the hardest part about being a freelance copywriter is not the copywriting. It's finding the clients. And a lot of people don't realize that they signed up for the work before they get to do the work that they really love doing. And if you're not willing to do the work, the sales process, to get the clients, you won't ever get to do the work that you really love. And for some people, that is just a wake-up call, and they realize, man, I didn't sign up to write proposals or do sales calls or market myself. Well, how else are you going to get clients? You are a business owner. We like to call ourselves freelancers because it sounds cool, but you are a business owner that needs to get clients. And so if you are not willing to get excited about selling in a very down-to-earth, simple way, then you are going to struggle as a copywriter, or as a bookkeeper, or as any type of freelancer. So let's put that right on the table too.
Yes, it is. That's 100% true. And because there are a lot of parts in copywriting, and like I said in the beginning, it's an area I have limited knowledge on. How do you explain copywriting to someone completely new to it? Great.
Thank you for asking. First of all, very basically, it is copywriting with a W-R-I-T-E, right? Not copyright with an R-I-G-H-T. So that's the first thing. People don't know the difference. One is a legal term that protects you from something you've done, and the other one is a type of or style of writing. I like to compare the difference between copywriting and content writing. That's one way for people to get a better understanding. Copywriting is words that sell. Writing words that help people make a decision. Words that move people to action. So if you're writing a blog, and your blog is about, exercise or getting healthy, if you are not causing people to buy something, change their mind, sign up for something, then you're doing content writing. You are informing people. You are giving them information that helps them get trust or get people to think that you're an authority. So copywriting is words that sell, that move people. And content writing is words that inform people or build trust. So that's how I look at those. So an email could be copywriting and it could be content writing. It just depends on what the purpose is. What you want to think about is the very end result. What are you trying to do? What do you want people to think, feel, and do after they read your words? If you need them to change their mind, make a decision, follow you, buy from you, click something, that's copywriting. And sometimes they're intermixed, but as a copywriter, I've chosen to only stay with copywriting and not do both content and copy because I find it's confusing for clients and for myself. Is that helpful?
Great. I think, I think this as clear as it can get. I am guilty of confusing copywriting and the other legal copywriting.
Yes.
I was guilty of it. Yeah. If someone wants to get started as a freelance copywriter, like, what's the first step? What shall I start with if I want to start freelancing as a copywriter, offering copywriting services?
I think copywriters have a huge advantage over many other freelancers because you can create a copywriting portfolio and practice copywriting before you even get a client. So there's no excuses. It's not like you are a bookkeeper and you have to wait to have somebody's numbers and books and finances to show what you do. The very first thing is you can create different types of copywriting for yourself, for your own business, just as practice. So that's the first thing. And I think it'd be good to explain real quick, Siddhi, the different types of copywriting. Because I think copywriters can get into a niche or can narrow down depending on what they like to do. So, for example, I think that there's a few categories. Website copywriting, words that go on websites, is a very particular type of copywriting. Website sales pages where you're trying to sell something, or an e-commerce site, or you have a course you're trying to sell. That is a little different type of copywriting. If you are writing emails, sales emails, that's a different type of copywriting. Email copywriting is different than website copywriting. Okay, so let's say you're like, I would love to get into email copywriting. Then I would recommend picking your favorite business. Don't tell them, just find a business that you like and write 3 or 4 emails about something that they are selling and see if you can create the email that would make sense for somebody who is looking to buy or somebody who has clicked on the website but didn't buy, right? So there's lots of different ways for you to imagine what you would write if you were writing, like, let's say, an email. Another way that I teach copywriters to get started is to go to a website and look at it and critique it, give some feedback on it, even if it's just to yourself, and say, oh, this is confusing. I don't like what this word is. This doesn't make sense. This part's too long. And you can go through and rewrite it yourself and think, well, how would I do it if I was going to write it? So you can review websites. You can rewrite website pages. Maybe if it's a social media post and you're like, I don't like how the social media post is. I want to rewrite it the way I think it should be written. So that's one way to get started before you even have a client, is to have the eye when you look at things to say, how could this be said better? How could this be said shorter? How could we get somebody to take an action? That's the mind of a copywriter. It's not so much the words you use, it's the thinking skills that go into better, faster, sharper, quicker, more clever in terms of getting people to take action.
This feels like one-on-one coaching. I am learning a lot about copywriting these few minutes than I have ever learned in my life. And yeah, this just proves to me that there are a lot of opportunities in copywriting because there are a lot of services involved in copywriting. So the opportunities there is a lot. And what I'm thinking is, what I figured when I got started in freelancing, I started as a freelance WordPress developer. Mm-hmm. And when I see one project on Fiverr for freelance WordPress developer, there will be at least 100 freelancers who already sent their proposals. And so the competition was extreme. And what I did was, until I figured a way that I started offering WordPress landing page design. And when I started offering, then I noticed that the people who post a project who are looking for a landing page designer, yes, when I check the proposals, there will be like 20. And if they are looking for a WordPress website designer, the proposals will be like 100. So you see the competition, the level of competition, there is a big gap there.
Yes.
And this is what I'm seeing in this copywriting. There are a lot of parts in copywriting that even if one part is there are a lot of competition, then there has to be some part that the competition will be a little less, that a beginner will have a higher chance.
So let me share some thoughts on freelance platforms. So not only am I a copywriter, but I built my business on Upwork. So I'm also very experienced in how do you pitch yourself, how do you present yourself, how do you sell yourself. And on a Fiverr or an Upwork, very big platforms, very noisy, very crowded. It's very important that you narrow down your niche as tightly as you just did. So WordPress developer for landing pages. Now you might think, oh, I'm going to lose out on opportunity, or I'm going to miss out on clients. Not on Upwork and Fiverr. There are thousands and thousands of clients looking for help. The more focused you can be, one, you show up like more of an expert. They see you as someone who specializes in something. Well, guess what? When you have someone who specializes in something, it costs more, which means you can charge more. They see you as an expert. So I went from, I remember it was the end of my first year, I changed my title from like blogger to copywriter, and it was just copywriter. Well, that's still too broad. And then I started doing website copywriting. And then I started doing sales page copywriting. And so on my Upwork profile right now, I specialize in sales pages and launch emails. So when somebody wants to sell something or launch something, I'm the one that can help them. So when they come across my profile, I stand out because they're like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Instead of, I wonder if she could do this for me. I remove that one question. And so the right people who come across my profile will respond much, much quicker than me having to explain what I do and all the things. So if you're just getting started,
that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, if you're just getting started, you still need to be broad enough to know what works and what you like, and you're kind of just exploring. So you got to earn and figure out what you like before you just say, I only do these things. So that's just advice for the difference between getting started. You can keep it broad, but if you've been doing this for a while and you want to get those higher paying clients, then you want to narrow down your niche.
That made a lot of sense. And one thing, any kind of freelancer need a portfolio, I believe. So what are the top tips that you have for beginners to copywriting?
So one of the things that I teach copywriters is not so much about the words that they write. I teach them about the questions to ask. So when you're working with a client or you're doing your own copywriting, you really want to spend some time at the beginning of any project getting clarity. Copywriters must get clarity first. And so you have to ask some really good questions. You need to ask some follow-up questions. You might need to push back on the client a little bit and say, is this really, who we're targeting? So when you're beginning as a copywriter, you don't want to just take the words someone says and make them sound better. That's not copywriting. A copywriter needs to know whose eyeballs are on this website, whose eyeballs are reading this email. Who is that person? What does that person care about? What words matter to them? I say this all the time to my students. As a copywriter, we are an advocate. In the word advocate, we are a supporter of the customer. Not your client, not the person who's selling something, not the person who has a business, but the person who is going to be reading the words. We care about when they read those words, how are they going to feel? What are they going to do? So as a copywriter, you always have to sit in the seat on the other side of the screen, reading the words and thinking like, what does this person care about? So that's really, really important. The second thing as a tip for copywriters is you want to keep your words very, very simple. We call it grade 3, grade 4 writing, or 3rd and 4th grade reading level. You want to keep the words. And that doesn't feel, you're getting paid to write words for somebody. You think you should write the fancy words or you should write the good sounding words. But a true copywriter will take things and they will simplify it. So you want to be really good about, how do I say this better? How do I say this shorter? So that's another thing to think about. The third thing to think about as a copywriter is it's not just about the words. It's the order that you put the words in on an email or on a website page. What do you want someone to think about first? That triggers them to worry about this. And then you ask a question about this. So we call that a user experience or a flow. And so as a copywriter, you get to kind of structure the way the story is being told. Again, on an email, on a website, or a sales page, whatever you're doing your copywriting for. So when you are presenting yourself to a potential client, you get to say things like, listen, it's not just about the words. I help you get clarity. I help you organize the thoughts so that they make sense to the person reading it. And then on top of that, you want to also be the one that decides, hey, this picture or this image would go really great with these words. And these are the details that we need. And now we need a button here that says buy now or register now. So a copywriter does more than words. You want to look up what user experience is or user experience writing, because the fancy words are fine, but if you confuse people, you give them too many choices, if they don't know what to do next, you lose them, even if the words are great. So that is some of the things that you want to consider when it comes to copywriting. It's sales, psychology, human decision making, mapping out what is the next move someone's going to make, what are the questions in someone's head. That's very different if you're writing a blog. Like if you're writing a blog and you've got information and you're organizing it, you just write about the thing. That's why copywriting pays more. Copywriting pays 10 times more than content writing, because you have to think in a way that the client is not able to think because they're too close to their business, they're too close to the product, they only care about what they want to say. So a copywriter has to be that neutral voice that is thinking about all these things.
Yes. So there are a lot of really great information there. So my advice will be for all the beginners watching this, you cannot learn all of this right now.
Yeah.
So what you should do is you should take notes. You take notes and you rewatch if you need to, and you practice. That's how you can really follow it, because there are a lot of knowledge that if you try to implement all of it all at once, you might get overwhelmed. And this is really so valuable that I believe these tips alone will be enough for most beginners to get started in copywriting. And one thing that I would like to ask you about this is, as a complete beginner just getting started, what is the earning potential? I'm not sure how to phrase this question.
Okay, so let
me just get you.
Let me think about. I'll retrace the steps. I'll just retrace for everybody the steps that happened for me. I didn't intentionally set out to be a copywriter. I told you I didn't know what a copywriter was. So I wrote blogs and emails for people. I find that the easiest way to get started, even as a copywriter, is to get good at just writing. Can you write an article about this? Can you write a blog about this? I'm like, yes. So, you practice your writing that way. What would happen is that when somebody has a blog or an email they want you to write, they usually also have a website. And so I would take a peek at their website and I would say, oh, this is kind of confusing to me, or I think you could say this better. Would you like me to rewrite this little piece for you? Or do you think I think you could say it like this? I offered for free to go and look at people's websites and give them some little tips to rework or reword or put this section over here and then this section over here, just a little bit. The client didn't pay me for it. But then what would happen over time is the client would say, hey, do you want to have a try? Do you want to practice? Do you want to try to rewrite my website for me? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'll charge you $500 to do that. I'll charge you $750. Ridiculously low prices. I think they're ridiculously low prices, but I got to practice. I got feedback. I got a portfolio piece. So wherever you're getting started, do that really well. Write really good emails, write really good blogs. Like you've got to do that first before a client is going to trust you to do the next thing. But my advice is to go looking for opportunity. Go proactively ask, what else can I help you with? Do you have other emails? Have you ever thought about writing this email? Have you ever thought about writing this? I was thinking maybe you could. So it's like you're partnering with your client. You are offering, you are finding ways to do more work, paid or unpaid. And in the beginning, I would take things and do them unpaid because I was learning. But then I would charge $500. I would charge $700. So what is earning potential? Well, before I get there, the first stage would be to take somebody's website and then just make it a little bit better. The words. The second stage would be to take their website and totally rewrite it. Right? That would be the next stage. To update somebody's website, maybe you charge $500, $700, $1,000 if you're just getting started. If you're going to rewrite somebody's website, maybe that's like $1,500 or $2,000. That's what I started charging when I was just getting started. But just, I know for some people that's still a lot of money. Today, I charge close to $7,000 or $8,000 to write the words for someone's website, and I don't even build the website. Then they have to go and pay somebody to build the website for them. If I have a sales page where somebody is selling a course or a product or a membership or they're launching something, I can easily charge $5,000 or $6,000 for one page. And why is that? Does it cost me that much to make it? Is my time that valuable? No. Because I know they are going to make a lot of money from the words that I write for them. So copywriters should not get paid by the hour, which I know is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but you really should not get paid for the time it takes you to write something. You should get paid for the value that you bring, for the amount of money that they could potentially earn over the lifetime. If you think about a website, it might take me 2 months to build a website words out for somebody, but they could use that website for 2, 3, 4, 5 years if it's really good. How much money will they earn because of the words I wrote on that website? That's how you think about how you can charge money. Why is that important? Because when you're trying to write a proposal, when you're trying to do a discovery call, when you're trying to sell yourself, you need to believe that first. And then you need to get good at communicating that to a client. So when they see your proposal and they're like, $3,000, they won't take you that long. You say, I don't work by the hour. I work by the value that I deliver. And so that's how you can raise your prices and make more money, is by getting off of that hourly treadmill.
I guess the only question I have is, how do you recommend beginners start looking for clients? Either freelancing platform, cold outreach, social media? What's the best way for beginners to start looking for copywriting clients?
Great. Friends and family. If you know anybody who has a business, friends and family who has a business, you ask, could I write an email for you for free? Could I look at your website and update it? Could I create a marketing brochure for you? Could I create a lead magnet for you? Could I start writing your weekly emails to send out to your email list? Everybody will say yes if it doesn't cost them anything. Okay? Yeah. Your communities, schools, churches, anything that's a nonprofit, if you go in and say, listen, I'm getting started as a copywriter, I would love to help you in exchange for a testimonial, and I get to use this in my portfolio. So I tell everybody, you're going to have to hustle with friends and family and local community organizations. Then the second would be you need to write your own copy for your own business. Pretend you have a business. Pick a name. You don't have to create it, but actually pretend you have a business and create a homepage website. You need to write a couple emails for yourself. You need to write a few blogs for yourself. You need to write a lead magnet for yourself. And if you don't know what these are, you got to go Google them. Watch the replay. I can't explain what all these are, but these are all the copywriting things. You write them for yourself. Even if you never send them, they become part of your portfolio. We get to have portfolio pieces that have never been used before. Okay, same like with graphic designers. They can create images that no client has ever paid them for, but they can still put it in their portfolio. So that's how you get started. And I can tell you, a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They want to get paid. But I hire a lot of freelancers. And here's a funny thing. I actually hire copywriters to help me write my things because I have a lot of marketing I have to do. And I will hire copywriters to help me. I would never hire a copywriter who has never done copywriting before. No business owner is going to pay money to see if you can do it or to give you a shot. So if you think that you're going to go on Upwork and find a copywriting client, you're just not. Or it'll be a disaster and you will wish you never did that. So it is not my advice for if you're new to copywriting and new to Upwork or Fiverr, it's not a good combination.
That made sense because I always tell new freelancers, you need to have sample project. Whatever you do, you just have to find a way to have a sample project that you can show to potential client. This is what you can do for them. Because as a complete beginner, you have no client testimonials, no reviews, no previous jobs. Then how can a client trust that you can do what you said you can do for them? So in the beginning, you just have to put an effort into having that sample that you can show to potential client. And so this really feels like a one-on-one coaching. So for every freelancer who wants to start in copywriting, this video alone can get you started. And I know you have a masterclass coming up for Upwork masterclass, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
yeah. Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. There's a difference between learning how to be a copywriter, the strategy, the types of copywriting, learning how to write, learning how to wireframe. That is like the essence of being a copywriter. But from the very beginning, I said, if you don't have any clients, you don't have a business. If you can't find people to do copywriting for, then you're not doing any copywriting. So really learning how to find clients is super important. And so for many years, I have taught freelancers how to use Upwork. At the time, it was the #1 freelancing platform. I know it goes head to head with Fiverr on a lot of things. Same with Fiverr. You could be on Fiverr or Upwork, either one. Right now, those are the biggest platforms. And so I think if somebody else came along to disrupt Upwork, everybody would be happy. But right now, Upwork is the biggest monster, in the playground. So learning how to get on Upwork and how to position yourself, how to write a profile that gets attention, how to do an introduction video, how to create proposals that cause people to say yes to you. All of that is really critical. There are so many great things about Upwork. There just are. You can get everything in one place, your portfolio, your earnings, your testimonials, your payments. And on top of that, there are hundreds of thousands of potential clients on there with their wallets out looking to hire freelancers. I am so tired of posting on social media. In fact, I never post on social media. It feels icky. I don't like kind of telling people what I do on social media. I save that for my kids and my trips and all my other stuff, right? I don't use my Instagram to talk about me as a copywriter because I get all of my business on Upwork. I can keep it all in one place. So I'm a huge advocate for it. But when people just jump on there and think they're going to figure it out the first time, it can be very disappointing. So I teach freelancers how to earn good money, find great clients, projects they love, get paid what they're worth. I've been doing it for 4 years now. I've helped hundreds of freelancers. Many of them go 6 figures. Many of them quit their jobs so they could do it full time. So I teach it in a free masterclass. I do it once a year and it's this month. It's in January. So we'll drop the link so you can register. But for the first time ever, Sadiq, I'm so excited about this. I'm bringing in other coaches to help me. A ghostwriter, a website designer, bookkeeper, virtual assistants, marketing specialists, and copywriters. So we will have very specific teaching for those niches about how to be a copywriter on Upwork. And so I'm really excited to bring in the other coaches and teachers to help me.
Looks like it is going to be a big masterclass.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing. And for at any time, people can check out your YouTube channel, called Thrive Freelancers. You had a lot of copywriting tutorials, tips, guides over there. So we'll put a link to all of this in the description so you can all check it out. And this masterclass, I'm going to attend it myself. And so for anyone who is interested, you should attend this masterclass. And thank you very much for doing this, Lisa. The information, the tips, all the knowledge you shared in this video, I can't think of one place that I can go to find this information. So thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it. I know it's pretty straightforward, but I am very much no fluff. I want to help people as best I can. So you may have to rewatch it and Google it and ask lots of questions, but the information's there. And Sadiq, thank you for having this channel, having this video, putting this out for freelancers. We don't make money doing this, but we love it because we want to see other people thrive as well.
Exactly. Any final thoughts for freelancers before we call it a day?
Yeah. You know, while I talk about freelance and copywriting a lot, I really care more about how a person grows and expands who they are because of their job or because of their career. And while making money is important, challenging ourselves, challenging our beliefs, thinking bigger, learning to connect with people and communicate clearly and kindly is the most important thing. And when you can stop worrying about the money and you start caring about the people you're serving, it makes it a whole lot more fun. You find better clients, you do better projects. And so, yeah, freelancing is the little vehicle we use. Being a business owner, we get to test all this out every day. And so I really want to encourage people that, you know, if you're struggling or if it's difficult, like, you are in charge. You picked this. Nobody's making you do this. And so if something's not working, you can change it. If you're not getting the traction you want, you can find better ways to do it. So I just want people to feel empowered. I want them to feel excited. You are the boss. It's up to you. And so I think there's plenty of free resources out there to help people do that. But if you're feeling like, oh, this is too hard, start here, right? And that's where we change our thoughts, is when we start changing our actual circumstances.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, again for doing this. And for all of you watching, if you have any question for Lisa, you can just post it in the comment of this video and we will get to the questions. And if you find the video helpful, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thank you.